Hello and welcome to Transfermarkt TV. My name is Stefan and I'm once again joined by my colleagues Ben and Ewan, and today we are talking about European goal scorers. Fresh off the back of more turmoil at Bayern Munich, and poor Harry Kane can't seem to get any luck in his career. That's now 238 goals he's scored across a number of seasons in the Premier League and now the Bundesliga, and looking increasingly unlikely that he's going to finally win that elusive top-flight trophy, either in the Cups, Champions League, whatever else you want to call it. Any major trophy continues to elude him. And Ben, you obviously wrote a fantastic article looking at the top goal scorers in European football who never did or continue to miss out on major trophies. And as your piece makes perfectly clear, Kane right now is obviously the biggest name on that list.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty unbelievable. If somehow Harry Kane, he's probably going to go down as one of the greatest goal scorers of all time. A lot of people consider him the greatest English striker of all time, and he might never win a major trophy. I mean, it's crazy. You thought when he went to Bayern in the summer that it was essentially going to be a guaranteed trophy. There's not many other clubs you would choose over Bayern Munich in that respect. They've won 11 Bundesligas in a row. They're always in the frame for the latter stages of the Champions League. It just seemed like he's going to go there. I mean, a lot of the debate in the summer was the value in actually winning the Bundesliga. A lot in the English media, people were discussing whether that really puts Harry Kane in the elite going to win that league, having seen Bayern win it so many times before. Now they're 8 points behind Bayer Leverkusen. They're 1-0 down to Lazio in the first leg. I mean, Kane really might have another troublesome season without a trophy. And it does beg the question of, there was obviously a lot of interest from Manchester City a couple of seasons ago. It looked like the move was going to happen and it failed to materialise, sort of got priced out of that move. You wonder whether Harry Kane should have pushed harder for that move now. They've obviously moved on to Erling Haaland. They've just won the treble and Harry Kane is still trophyless.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me actually of the Erling Haaland debate that happened at Dortmund before he chose to move to Manchester City. There's lots of talk about him staying at Dortmund for a year or two, continuing to score goals for fun in Germany. But one of the biggest issues for him, or at least the perceived issues, was that he wanted to move to a club that could win trophies, that he could obviously go on to become one of the best players in the world. And he's already begun to do that very quickly at Manchester City. As Ben said, that could have very easily been Harry Kane. So, he is the standout player on that list. But when you take a look at that top 10 from Ben's article, are there any other names on that list that really stand out to you?
Yeah, I think Kane is the biggest name unquestionably on the list. I think Antonio Di Natale for me was one that maybe surprised me, given just the sheer longevity of his career. He's almost like a Benjamin Button type. He got better as he got older, and I think he was scoring goals late into his 30s. But he obviously spent the majority of his career at Udinese, so it's perhaps not a surprise that he didn't win a trophy. Also, our big name on it is Son, who like Kane spent the majority of his career at Tottenham. It's kind of interesting, obviously, that Kane's probably going to be deprived of a league title by Bayer Leverkusen, obviously Son's old club. But in terms of Kane, you look at a penny for his thoughts at the moment, and his contract was running out at Spurs. He could have waited out and moved on a free and had the choice of any club in the world to move to. The biggest motivational factor behind him going to Bayern was to win trophies, and now it looks like the first time in God knows how long that Bayern won't win one. This is the first season he's there.
Yeah, Ben, the interesting thing, as Ewan points out, is that also Heung-Min Son is on that list. But again, the kind of unfortunate thing for Harry Kane in his career is that, he spent the last 2 or 3 seasons at Tottenham where there's this managerial, merry-go-round, constant turmoil, constant speculation over who will be the manager, the players brought in. And as soon as he moves on, they suddenly find a head coach the whole club can get behind. They're pushing up into the top 4 of the Premier League. You'd imagine Ange Postecoglou has ambitions of winning silverware at Tottenham, and we could actually be in an unfortunate situation for Harry Kane, that is, not for someone like Heung-Min Son, though, but that Tottenham actually could start challenging for serious silverware, whether that's domestic cups or Europa Leagues or whatever else, as soon as Harry Kane left the club.
Yeah, I do think, though, I mean, Harry Kane had opportunities to win trophies at Tottenham. He played in major finals. There was obviously the Champions League final. There was a couple of League Cup finals in there as well, and he didn't deliver. And I think Ange Postecoglou has done a magnificent job, and it would have been really interesting to see Harry Kane in this team under Postecoglou that play so attacking and create so many chances. you would have expected Harry Kane to probably be top of the goal scoring charts alongside Haaland this season if he'd remained at Spurs. But I still don't think Tottenham are really in a position to be challenging for many major trophies. Maybe domestic cups next season. Obviously, they're out of both this season, but I think there's still a long way to go. And you'd still say that Bayern Munich are more likely to win a trophy anytime soon than Spurs. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, well, I was going to actually mention that once you finish speaking there, that, you know, whether it's under Thomas Tuchel or Xabi Alonso or Jose Mourinho, for all we know, you'd imagine Bayern Munich will be kind of looking much stronger next season. But just before we wrap up, Ewan, maybe we should kind of finish up on the kind of, you know, what these kind of lists and, you know, the lack of trophies may mean to the players on this list. Of course, Harry Kane, more than likely to probably pick up at least one trophy before he leaves Bayern Munich or before he wraps up his career. But there's a lot of players on that list who are also already retired or already winding down their careers. You know, as you mentioned yourself, Di Natale is perhaps a perfect example of a player who never won any major trophies, but those goals in themselves might actually prove to be a trophy of itself that he'll look back on for the course of his career.
Yeah, I mean, and Di Natale, his legacy in Italian football, and obviously with Udinese, is huge. So it's always going to be there. You know, if he'd went to say like a Juventus and, you know, played 10 games a season and picked up a trophy, would that have mean as much to him in 10, 20 years' time as being a legend at a football club? You know, same with Adjoi's obviously as well. So it comes down to, I think every footballer wants to win trophies, and it is the most important thing in the careers is to win trophies. But to some players, it will mean a little bit different. Staying at the one club for a long period of time, being loyal, those sort of things might mean more than, you know, coming on, you know, the last 10 minutes of games for a club and picking up, say, a League Cup. So yeah, it comes down to the player, really.
Yeah, it certainly does. Well, you guys can also let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Harry Kane will pick up a trophy? Do you think Harry Kane needs to pick up a trophy to be remembered as one of the modern greats? And let us know what you think of the list in general as well. You can obviously find Ben's article on the website, which has a much larger gallery of the top 20 players, which is definitely worth looking through. Some real blasts from the past there as I was looking through it this morning. So make sure to check that out. And as always, you can get everything else at transfermarkt.co.uk and .com. And until next time, we'll speak to you soon.